Hello, in this video, let us look at what happens if absolute value equation has no solution. So how to spot it and how to check it with a calculator. So for example, let's try to solve this absolute value equation. It is almost identical to the one we solved in the previous example. The only difference is on the right side we now have 1. So how do we solve an absolute value equation? We usually follow 2 steps. The first one is to solve for absolute value, So get that by itself equal to some number. And to do this, all we need to do with our example is to minus the 3 from both sides. So I will copy this question back, and then we do subtraction. So plus 1. Now minusing 3 from both sides makes absolute value 2x minus 1 equals negative 2. And at this point we are done with the first step, and the second step is to split our absolute value into 2 parts. And the first part is with the same sign on the right, and the second half is with opposite. So first half is exactly the same as what we see. The other side is with opposite side sign on the right. So instead of negative 2, we'll have plus 2. But even here, when we look at this line, there is something strange about it. And the strange thing is that the absolute value should always equal to positive number, right? Absolute value of anything is always going to be a plus. So at this point, one might wonder, how in the world would you get anything absolute value to be negative? And that is a very good question, because that is exactly what's not possible. And so at this point already, we could conclude that there is good chance that there is no solution. So this is our very, very good assumption. But let's continue and actually find those solutions, and then we can test them to check if they actually work or not. So to solve each one separately, we repeat the same steps twice. To cancel negative 1, we add 1 to both sides, making it 2x equals to negative 1. To undo multiplication by 2, we divide by 2, and that makes x equals negative half. So that's one solution. The second solution is we do exactly the same process on the second side. Adding 1 plus 1 plus 1 makes 2x is 3. Canceling the 2 by division, we get x is 3/2. These are the 2 solutions. Now, in order for us to actually conclude that we found the 2 solutions, they must work, and they and they must work in the original equation. So to test them, we have to plug in each one of these answers back for the x in our original question. So if we substitute negative half, what would that be? Well, that would make, let's rewrite it someplace different so we can see it. So here is the check of our work to the side here. So 3 plus absolute value 2 times negative half, that's what we think is a solution, minus 1. Is that really equal to 1? If it is, then we have found the solution. If it isn't, then we can't use it because it doesn't work. So 3 plus, now 2 times negative half is negative 1, minus 1. Negative 1 minus another 1 is equal to negative 2. And at this point, absolute value of negative 2 is of course plus 2. And so we have a strange statement saying that 5 equals to 1. And that's of course never true. which means we cannot use this solution because it simply doesn't work. So that one's out. Now we do exactly the same check with the second solutions with the 3 halves. So starting back, 3 plus absolute value, 2 times half minus 1, is that equal to 1? Well, 3 plus 2 times half is 1 minus 1. Well, 1 minus 1 is 0. Absolute value of 0 is also 0. And that says 3 is 1, which of course is also not true. And that means the second solution is also no good. And that's it. We have found 2 solutions and none of them work. So what is the final answer? No solution is exactly the answer. So our first instinct that something's wrong with this question is actually correct. There is no solution. Now visually we can also convince ourselves that there is no solution, because if we make a sketch, so here is a rough sketch, and then we'll do it with a calculator. So here is our absolute value, and it'll be somewhere at, looking something like this. It's a V shape. That would be our left side. So when we make a sketch, we'll put the left side as the first equation, we'll put the right side as the second equation. Well, the right side is a horizontal line that runs through 1. And we are looking for the place where these 2 shapes intersect, and they will never cross. So let's do this with a calculator, and we'll type in exactly the original here, the original equation. So the 3 plus math, and then the numbers is where the absolute value is. So enter 2x minus 1, and that's the first half. The other half is 1, and let's make a picture. So here's the absolute value coming up, and there is the 1, and we're looking for the place where they cross. They clearly do not cross and never will cross. And so at this point we conclude that visually there is no solution, because there is no intersections between these 2 curves, and they can never be found. And that's all there is for this example. Let's focus back. Come on. There it is. So that's how we solve absolute value equation if there is no solution. Thanks a lot for your time. Take care.